Welcome to Spotlight on Talk and Beyond. India is buzzing today with a new event after demonetization. What could it be? GST?
Yeah, at the stroke of midnight in the year 1947, our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, declared India independent. And now, at the stroke of midnight of 30th of June 2017, our current government is going to bring in GST, the biggest tax reforms. It is going to be the biggest game changer in Indian economy and will mark the beginning of a new era.
It is not another Cinderella story, for sure. We will not lose a glass slipper, but will it increase the price of shoes?
Right.
Okay. What is GST? How is it going to affect the everyday man? Are prices going to go up? Are consumer goods going to go up? And what about jobs? What about taxes? Well, so many questions. What do we do? Well, we have Harward James Scott, who is the MD and owner of LogBiz, a total supply chain solutions company. And Howard had predicted about 8 years ago, I think, that GST was going to come, but nobody believed him. And it's right around the corner. So let's talk to Howard. So Howard, how does it affect the everyday man?
Basically, it's a mixed bag. The rich people will get a little bit more tax imposed upon them, and the people who are in the normal, sensible brackets around the country will probably find themselves paying less tax.
What about jobs? Will it affect jobs?
Jobs will be affected. In manufacturing, things will speed up. As a consequence of that, I imagine the output will be more, and therefore I rather hope there will be some more jobs, especially in the small and medium enterprise companies.
And what about buying power of people? Will it affect them?
Yes, there's four key brackets of GST, 5, 12, 18 and 28. But also on the area of 18 and 28, there's an additional tax called cess, which will be imposed on all luxury items. You'll find out about that more if you just read the newspapers. But for the most part, things like food grains have zero tax. And other areas of everyday use items from consumer goods actually will be in the lower tax brackets.
Okay. So when you say luxury tax on, does it affect wine and alcohol also?
Yes, any luxury such as wine, alcohol, ladies' cosmetics, high-end hotels, all prices will go up.
Oh no, that's terrible because Pollyanna's cakes will suffer then. If the price of rum is going to go up and red wine, what are we going to do?
Suffer in silence, that will.
Oh no! What about the agriculture sector? Does it affect them?
Well, agriculture in the country is taxed in a slightly different way. There should be some improvements in the way that food grains, for instance, are moved from farm to fork, and as a consequence of the speed, agility and freshness of those products, I hope the farmers will get a better return for their effort.
Okay, so what are the, we've talked about a lot of positive things of GST, but what about the negatives of GST?
Yes, there are negatives. Online shopping, for instance, is still subject to some very serious discussion, and some difficulties will be there for the online companies such as Flipkart, Amazon, those kind of companies. But for the sellers who are selling through those companies, actually there could be some significant benefits, and they may be able to offer better pricing solutions. The online companies also have big logistics organizations, and as a consequence of the tax, it will speed up, become more efficient, and the efficiency should allow them to actually facilitate some changes in pricing.
So overall, the consumer is going to be happy, right?
I think the consumer will be a little bit confused for the first year or so, and we'll see different attitudes and opinions coming out. But for the most part, I think it's only plus.
Okay, fantastic.
For the most part, I think the easiest way to remember things is that consumer goods will be going down in price and services will be going up in price.
So when you talk about services, so what are the services?
Every kind of service. The impact on the services we will see in a significant way, particularly on the presentation of luxury items and luxury services like five-star hotels, wines, ladies' cosmetics, those kind of things.
They'll all go up.
Services will, yes.
Services.
The products themselves that they're using may not go up so much, but the service itself will definitely go up.
So what about the education service and the health industry?
Not the health industry as such, but the health services actually will have zero tax, and same as education. However, there's some pieces in those industrial areas which will be affected by tax, but those are different things inside the service.
And how it is going to get affected by GST?
The supply chain and industry in India will have significant change very, very quickly. Basically, a lot of agility, flexibility and speed and efficiency will come with the application of GST. So, for instance, at the moment, the average speed of a commercial vehicle travelling across the country is somewhere around about 22 to 25 kilometres per hour. Okay, that doesn't mean that that is the actual speed. It means that with all the stopping and starting, waiting and administration, that's the speed overall.
Yeah, so now that will come down.
No, that will go up. They'll move much faster.
Yeah, they will move faster.
Yes, so that's because the documentation, administration and all the things to do with the border crossing points will disappear.
What is your take on SIM card and what about the services?
No, any kind of services, as I said, consumer goods will go down, services will go up. So if you're provided with a service via Airtel, for instance, or one of those service providers, then you should anticipate having a small change in tax upwards.
Harvard, I would like to know, what is a supply chain?
Basically, a supply chain is a series of events which get raw materials turned into manufactured materials, turned into purchasing materials, given to the consumer. So that's the whole of the supply chain.
So is the supply chain going to be affected by GST?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, definitely. The supply chain is based on several key factors, some of which are agility, some of which are speed, flexibility, and the ability to get the products on a promise to a person who's made an order. As a consequence of that, GST will have an impact because border controls will change and paperwork documentation and other information flows will speed up.
So it will be faster.
It'll be much faster.
Much faster.
And there will, however, unfortunately be some detrimental effects because smaller supply chain companies in the transport sector may actually lose out to larger companies because bigger loads will have to move faster over greater distances.
And will it affect the consumer also?
Yes, in actual fact, it will have an impact on pricing. We talk about tax with GST, but the speed and agility will give the seller an opportunity to manipulate his prices up or down to the benefit of the party who's buying it. So it will have an impact on the consumer.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I hope our viewers have got a lot of information. Thank you.